Welcome back to Morning Joy, where truth matters. I'm your host, Keith Downey, and very excited to welcome back our next guest. She's the Outreach, Sponsorship, and Promotions Coordinator at Sacred Heart Radio in the Pacific Northwest. She's also the co-host of Live Talk Northwest, Rebecca Anderson. Good morning, Rebecca, and welcome back to the show.
Good morning, Keith. Thank you. It's early for me, so I'm glad to be here.
Yes, thank you so much. I know it's really early in the Pacific Northwest there, so thank you for joining us. And the last time you joined us was back in February, I believe. Now it's June. I know it's been, it feels like it's been forever, but June is obviously labeled as the month of humility and the Sacred Heart of Jesus. Nothing else. But seriously, your station there is named Sacred Heart Radio for a reason. There's a story behind it. What is that story, if you wouldn't mind sharing with us?
Well, the story is not that exciting. Actually, I just learned something new. And in our faith, we're always learning. So I talked to our president. I said, how did we get that? And he goes, well, Holy Spirit was taken. Immaculate Heart was taken. Sacred Heart Radio just kind of rolled off the tongue. And I'm like, really? He goes, yes, we kind of did it upside down, I guess. I don't know. So, but there actually are. So that is how it was named. Actually, there are two Sacred Heart Radios in Catholic radio. One is in Ohio. It's .com. We are .org. Technically, we were on air first, but they launched theirs for anyway. We're all connected. But yeah, there are actually two Sacred Heart Radios. So people know about the Ohio one. We are not Ohio, but we do. You know, we are in partnership in that we're all Catholic and we're all spreading the love of the Sacred Heart throughout our stations. So
that's
nothing,
right. You're
no apparitions, no visitations, no visions. And here we are 23 years later. So it's stuck.
Wow. That's incredible. And well, yeah, you're the OG Sacred Heart Radio. So we love all of them. So speaking of Sacred Heart of Jesus, could you maybe share with our listeners your personal journey with the devotion to the Sacred Heart of Jesus? Like, how did you encounter this devotion, and has it had an impact in your life?
Yeah, I just again, I'm learning, and we're all learning, and there's so much. I actually, I guess just basically, our Blessed Mother brought me to the Sacred Heart of her Son. That was my connection to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. I'm continuing to incorporate the devotion of the Sacred Heart into my life. I think one of the things we have as Catholics is there are so many devotions that we have, sometimes but it's all leading us to Christ. And I think sometimes I can get stuck in, I'm not doing this one perfect. I'm not doing this one good enough. And that's the dark side. So, yeah, I have to say I'm learning and I'm encouraged, and actually being on here is making me really go, oh, I do need to incorporate that. Divine Mercy, which is also connected to the Sacred Heart. It's all there. And again, God, I think in all of us, God is relentlessly pursuing us in any way in which it touches our heart. And so for some people, the rosary is their thing. For some people, it is Divine Mercy. For some, it's the Sacred Heart. And so I'm excited to continue to, I'm just excited to continue to see where God has me in his devotion to the Sacred Heart. I will say that when I receive the Eucharist at times, I visually asking God to replace my heart with his. He has that heart, and often my heart, that's where sin starts, and that's where discouragement starts. And so I'm always asking him to, if he could do this exchange, if I could have his heart today, and when I receive the Eucharist, and I can take that heart out to the world. So wow, that's my long answer to your question.
That was that's a great suggestion. I'm going to have to try that I'm going to try to do this first Friday, which is happening tomorrow. You mentioned something that I thought was interesting, because I have this issue too. There are so many devotions out there, and at times we can kind of go devotion overload and maybe just completely fall flat and then just not do any devotion. Do you maybe have any suggestions on what us Catholics can do if maybe we try to take on too much devotions? Any suggestions on that?
Yeah, you only have today, and where is God calling you? What's right in front of you, right? I'm using that right now in my own spiritual walk, and because there are so many things going on, even in bad things in the world, things that are really frustrating. What can I do? What can I do? It's like, well, what's in front of me right now? And be kind to yourself. We serve a God of mercy and love and compassion. He doesn't want us anxiety ridden over a devotion to him, right? And that's not him. That's not of him. So really take it to prayer. Like, Lord, where are you calling me to sit with you? Is it in the rosary? Little steps, baby steps, right? I mean, each of the saints that we talk about and we learn about, they're all human. They all started, maybe not all of their faults made it into their books, but there were some struggles and there were some challenges. And, again, who do we serve and who loves us? And I always start with that, because the chaos, the anxiety, the upsettedness, the comparison. If you have friends in your life who you just think, oh, wow, they're like, they got it. And like, no, look at you, right? It's back to you. The plate God has set before you. So just, one day at a time.
Social media definitely does not help that either. It's just like, wow, how does this person even have a job? They're always like in the most beautiful destinations. I wish I was there. And then, you kind of do the comparison thing. Whereas we look at the saints, so, like you said, sometimes we do have examples of their previous life before they had that reversion or conversion of heart. And it's like, okay, I can connect with the saints. I'm not perfect. I can't be, this person wasn't perfect, but they still managed to become saints. So there's something to that.
Exactly.
Now there's we had you on during kind of the Divine Mercy time period, and you shared some great stories on how it changed others' lives of others. And as the community outreach coordinator, you do interact with so many people, especially this month of June. You're in the Pacific Northwest. Do you have any stories of individuals that, it doesn't necessarily have to be through the Sacred Heart devotion, but especially during this time, that you've seen that their lives were changed through our faith?
No, you've given me more homework, Keith. Thank you.
It's okay.
Seriously, no, and that's what it's about. But no, I just know the power of Catholic radio and what we're doing. And, this, again, we are Sacred Heart Radio, right? So however God is going to lead someone deeper. I know that Sacred Heart Radio has gotten into prisons, right? And it's made a difference in the lives of people who are incarcerated. I know it's made a difference in the lives of young men who have listened, that to the Sacred Heart of our radio station and become priests and things like that. So that, I think, is the Sacred Heart Radio connection that I can offer you today. And again, we're just trying to get people to listen to the radio in Mission Territory and the Seattle Pacific Northwest. But no, and we do have the Sacred Heart Novena on our website, and the promises, and so we just keep planting those seeds.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that, as being a Catholic, is you don't know, when those seeds will take root. So.
You talked about missionary work. I guess I never really thought about it, but I didn't realize prisons have radios or prisoners can listen to the radio. I guess they have televisions. I guess that makes sense. They would be radio. Sure, are there any stories that you've heard about individuals in prison that has had a conversion?
Well, we do actually, and when we do our parish presentations, there was a prisoner who reached out to us and really did say, you are my parish. Wow. Sacred Heart Radio is my community. And again, that's the power of getting radio into places that are very dark and very despairing. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's people think, oh, radio, I don't listen to the radio. Well, there's people out there that has no other choice but to listen to radio. Like, they don't maybe not have the ability to watch or stream online, and the radio is really their only outlet. So to know that prisoners over there, and maybe prisoners across the country, can have the ability to listen to radio, and Catholic radio, Sacred Heart, at that, is encouraging and really good to hear. Is there any other place that you found maybe something unexpected when it comes to those listeners, like where they're listening from?
Gosh, no.
Hey,
no, but we can talk about the saint that who has brought us the Sacred Heart. I think that's powerful. Yes. But no, yeah. So I mean, and again, I think she's one that she seemed pretty good from the very beginning. She's not a St. Augustine, right? She's not. She didn't go the long way. In fact, but anyway, I don't know how you want to move forward in talking about her, but
yeah, Saint Margaret Mary Alacoque, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she definitely played a pivotal role in promoting the Sacred Heart devotion. Now, do you have any devotion towards her, or obviously the Sacred Heart Radio does have that devotion to the Sacred Heart of Jesus, but could you maybe jump into there?
Sure. Yeah. Well, actually, before I was really embracing my Catholic faith. I love all things French. And I know there's always kind of a joke sometimes, all the French and, and surrender monkeys and whatever. Anyway, but I just fall, I have my, that's my husband kind of. Anyway, but I'm just falling more in love with the French saints. Yeah. I just that what God did with Saint Mary Margaret in France. I mean, specifically, shoring them up with the Sacred Heart devotion. I'm just, wow. And then you look of like where that country is today, so blessed and all the troubles and stuff. So no, that's my thing as far as like going, oh, go French, And again, St. Joan of Arc is another one of my favorites because of where I live. I was born for this. I am not afraid. I hope everyone can, follow her lead. But no, just the French. I just, what a blessing in all the saints that they have had, and she is one of their greats. So
yeah, I'm partial French, so I do feel that pull as well to all of the French saints out there, and just looking at historically how faithful the Catholics were in France back then, much different than what you find in contemporary present day France. Mm-hmm. Do you think France will ever go back to their historical roots in Catholicism?
Well, we hope so, right? We're people of hope. I mean, otherwise we wouldn't be here if we weren't a people of hope. So no, I have great hope. And so I'm looking forward to, talking more about her with you guys.
Absolutely. Well, my goodness. Thank you so much, Rebecca Anderson, for joining us live this morning. Really great conversation, all things Sacred Heart and Sacred Heart Radio. Now you can obviously catch her sacredheartradio.org, right? Not
yes.
.com. All right. Awesome. Thanks again, Rebecca. And hey, that means the Morning Joy, Where Truth Matters, is technically over with. And I say technically because we actually have an after show clubhouse that you are invited to. Yes, just search Morning Joy on any of the social platforms. We recommend either YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, X, Instagram, where you can kind of be I don't want to say a fly on the wall, but you get to interact with us as we do kind of a show debrief. It's almost like a podcast in itself, if you will. So please join us, Morning Joy. Search for us on social media. Otherwise, if this is us parting ways, maybe you're going to be listening to the Holy Mass right after this. Please pray for us. We'll certainly pray for you. But if not, we'll see you on tomorrow's show, 6 a.m. Central, here on Morning Joy. Make it a joyful day.
This has been Morning Joy, Where Truth Matters, hosted by Keith Downey. Take some joy with you today. Visit grnonline.com/joy to listen again, share a segment, or answer the question of the day. That's grnonline.com/joy.